Hi, I'm Andy Lymer. I'm the Treasurer at St Andrew's Church in Malvern, and I'm really pleased to bring you this year's Treasurer's Report for the year ending the 31st of December 2020. Let's start with describing how the church received its income during this year. You'll see that in total, as is detailed above me there, we've received just under £240,000 in income during the period up to the 31st of December last year. That's about a 5% decrease on the previous year, which you can imagine why that might have been the case given everything that's been going on with COVID. Around 50% of our income, as in normal years, comes from people giving us money through their banks and on the tax refunds that we get on that. So around 50% of all our income comes from that source. You'll notice here that the cash at plate and the envelope giving schemes are slightly down on our normal years. You would, as I'm sure you can imagine, the cash that's been given to us has been significantly reduced this year because we've not been running services for a large part of the year, and the cash giving is the money that's given on the plate as part of those church services. We still run an envelope giving scheme if that's the way you like to give to the church, by setting aside a certain amount each month and giving it to the church that way. Then you can still do that. Just please feel free to let us know. We'll be very happy to deliver you envelopes and collect them from you from time to time to be able to pay money into the church's bank account that way, if that's easy for you to do and your preferred way to give to us. The other key thing that you will notice here on these accounts is a very significant reduction in our hall income, only amounted to 4% of our income. Normally the hall contributes about £20,000 a year to the total income and the costs of running the church. This year, again, because of COVID-related reasons, the income from the church has been quite considerably less than that, less than half of what we would normally earn. However, that's been compensated in part by, you'll see the grant item shown there. We've actually received around £10,000 from the Malvern Hills District Council via government money through Malvern Hills District Council to help offset some of that income loss. How does that income compare to what's been going on for the last few years? In this chart behind me here, you'll see the details of how the income has risen over the last 4 years. So between 2016 and last year, the income had gone up 2.2 times over that period. And as I've just said, it's dropped back just a little for understandable reasons this last year. But that gives you a comparison of where we are compared to previous years. So that gives us some details about the income. What about how we have been spending money as a church during the last 12 months? You'll see again, as detailed above my head there, we've spent just under £220,000, which is almost the same as we spent in the previous years. We've had some savings from not having the building being operated as we would like to have done so normally, a little bit of savings on gas and electricity and cleaning costs and so on. But in return, we've had some other costs that we've incurred to be able to do other activities that perhaps we wouldn't have done otherwise. And so we've spent almost the same amount of money. That breaks down into various expenditures, as I've detailed here on this pie chart. The largest, as is normal for us, is our contribution towards the costs of the clergy and the running of the diocese, £81,600. That's how much they asked of us. That's how much they asked us to contribute, and we've been very pleased this year to be able to make a full contribution to the diocese, the full request that they asked of us. The diocese has been quite short of money this year because a number of churches have not been able to be able to meet the full request that the diocese made. So it's great that we have been able to do that from our financial situation, and it's the PCC's aim to keep trying to do that where we can to be able to support the diocese that we are a part of. The other two most significant expenditures are the money spent on children and young people and on the running of the church, the costs of our administrators and the office costs. Those are mostly made up of the salaries of the staff that work for the church. We've also spent quite a lot of money this year in mission and outreach. That's particularly in spending money within our community to be able to support that activity over this year, and that includes money from the Blessing Fund that we have created, that I'll come back to in a few moments. How does that trend compare to previous years? Like our income, our expenditure has been going up in step with our rise in income, and so our expenditure has gone up about the same as our increase in income, slightly more, but that in part is because we counted things slightly differently before 2016. And so it's about the same as our increase in income. As a church, we look to spend the money that we receive each year. We're not looking to generate surpluses and hold on to them. We look to use the money that God blesses us with to be able to spend it in supporting the church, the community, and giving money away more widely to organisations and individuals that we support. So our income and our expenditure, we're ideally looking to match year on year. And as you see, our expenditure for this last year, just behind my head here, 218,000, almost 219,000, a slight reduction on the previous year, as I showed you on the previous pie chart. I've mentioned our giving. As a church, we look to give away more than 10% of our income. That's a mandate that the PCC has given us as a finance team, to be able to give away more than 10% of the voluntary income that we receive as a church. And this year we gave away between £1,000 and £1,300 to a number of organisations, as I've detailed there. Those are mostly the organisations we've supported over a number of years, although there is one new one detailed at the bottom there of that list. Masalato College in Tanzania. We have supported a student at that college that is training the future leaders of the church within Tanzania, and we're really pleased to be able to sponsor somebody for each of 3 years of their programme there. Why that particular college? Well, many of you will know that we have for a number of years been supporting somebody called George, who came and did a PhD here in the UK and has now gone back to Tanzania and is a core member of that college. And we're really pleased to be able to continue to support him by supporting the next generation of leaders within that country that is in real need of resources. And so that was a new set of giving that we decided to give away as a PCC this year. We've also continued to support Compassion and Siloam as children's sponsorships that are linked with our children's work that we've supported for many years. We've given away just over £1,000 to supporting people within the church who are going on mission. That's curtailed from what we might do in other years, because obviously so much of that activity hasn't been able to happen this year. And we've also contributed £5,000 towards the running costs of CAP, which we are quite closely associated with, the CAP Malvern venture that many of you will know that we're involved with as supporting people in problem debt to try and find their way out of the challenges that problem debt create them. So we've contributed £5,000 towards the running costs of CAP Malvern. You'll also remember in my report in 2019, I talked about a new thing that we were setting up in the church called the Blessing Fund. And the Blessing Fund has been literally a blessing to quite a significant number of people over this last year, where people have been able to give directly to a source of money that we have been able to use to give away to cover people's emergency and other needs during this time that we've all been living through. We received around £22,500 in the year as direct gifts for the Blessing Fund, and we gave out about 16,500 of that, and in brackets there that details the amount that we've started to give out so far during 2021. So you can see we still have a little bit of money left in that pot, and we're continuing to look for ways in which we can bless our community by supporting them in various ways using this money. So that gives you the overall detail of what happened in 2020. Where have we gotten in 2021 so far? Let me just take this opportunity to give you a bit of an update on how the year has developed so far. You'll see that we've received income of about £54,000, of which we've spent £40,000. So we have spent slightly less than we have received in the year to date. But of course, so far we're still in a situation where the church buildings have until very recently been closed, and we're not able to incur the expenditure that we might normally need to on maintaining those buildings and on making those buildings available to use on a normal basis. So that surplus is likely to be spent as the year goes on, and our exact expected position by the year end is somewhat open to question at the moment. So much is unknown about what might happen over the remainder of 2021. We're difficult to imagine exactly quite where our expenses will come from during the year. But that's the details of where we sit so far in 2021. Who looks after the finances across the church? Well, I've detailed the various individuals who have different responsibilities here for looking after church finances. I introduced myself, Andy Lymer, as the treasurer with general oversight of how the money is received and spent within the church. We also have Marion Robbins, who looks after the day-to-day bookkeeping of the church and pays the expenses and the bills as they fall due. Valerie Jameson helps us with the gift aid payments and reclaiming gift aid where that's appropriate. She also looks after the envelope scheme, if that's something would be of interest and relevance for you as a way to give to us. Valerie would be the person to speak to. Chris Hopes looks after our cash and the cash management. And we've also this year made more use of an external accountant to actually help us with the accounts, particularly the production of the accounts at the end of the year. We've now reached a size of a church where we need more help to be able to produce those. The law requires us to produce accounts that are checked by a qualified accountant. And so we've made use of Kendall Wadley to do that. Kendall Wadley are a local firm of chartered accountants. And for the live part of the APCM, we'll be asking if you will approve us to make use of them again for next year. That's part of the approval process. So I thank all the members of the finance team for all that they've done during this year to assist with the financial operation of the church. Of course, the church can only spend money that we generate by people giving to us, or by letting out the hall, or the couple of other ways in which we're able to generate money as a church. So some of you may be wondering, how do you give? Or how much you give in different ways. And this slide just details a little bit of the information on how to give to the church. You can give directly to the church through your bank account. That's definitely our preferred way to do things. It's the lowest cost for all of us if you do that. And I've given the bank account details there for you to set up a standing order or to send one-off payments. That would be great. If you do that, if you could just let me know so that we know some money is coming, we'd be hugely grateful so that we can manage that and know when that's being received. I've mentioned the envelope giving scheme. If that's something you'd like to be part of, do please speak to Valerie about that, and we'd be delighted to help you with that. We receive money through the CAF giving scheme, through the stewardship scheme, through payroll giving. If any of that is relevant to you, we're very happy to receive money through those mechanisms. And of course, once we get back to meeting regularly, then there will be mechanisms to be able to give cash if that's a way that suits you most easily. Very happy to continue to receive cash again in due course. If you wish to write a cheque to us, we can receive those. Please do note who to make cheques payable to. They need to be payable to the PCC, St Andrews, Malvern, just as I've written here. If you could try and get that correct, that makes our lives quite easy, because the bank is quite fussy these days on who those are, who that's written to. And if you write it to anybody else, then they'll reject the cheque, unfortunately. You can also give to us by a debit card or credit card online. You'll see these images above me here detail how you can do that through your mobile phone, or if you know about these things, QR codes. Those are also available. Those are new ways that we've set up to try and make giving easy for people to do in ways that actually suit you and the way in which you wish to do that. And if there are other ways that you would like to be able to give to the church that we don't do at the moment, please do feel free to have a word with me, and we'll happily explore whether we can do something to set those up, to make it easy for you to be able to give to us. If you are in a position to be able to gift aid your money to us, your giving to us, then we're in a position then to be able to collect an additional 25 pence for every pound that you give us. If you'd like to know more about how that works and whether that would be applicable to you, please do get in touch with us. If that is applicable to you, it doesn't cost you any money at all, but we're able to collect another 25 pence back from the government to add further to the giving that you are contributing to the church. So if that might be applicable to you, please let us know. However you give to us, however, on behalf of the PCC, we're hugely grateful for your generosity in supporting the church over this last 12 months. As you can see, despite what have been for many a hugely challenging year financially and in many other ways, we have been hugely blessed by the giving that you have given to us, and we're immensely grateful for your sacrificial giving to the work of St Andrews. Thank you for so doing. So that ends my report. If you'd like an access to the full accounts, you can get those online on our website. I've also given my email address there for you, so that if you want to get in touch with me, if you've got any questions about the accounts, want any more detail, have any questions about how to give, or anything to do with the finances of the church, please feel free to get in touch. And thank you again for the way in which you've supported St Andrews over the last 12 months. Thank you.